Hey, good morning. This is Julie, and it is Saturday, June 20th. I'm going to be taking a look back at the crude market this past week and talk about a few other markets. First off, crude was trading really well inside the bodies of these candles. This week, you could very well take the range reversals at the candle bodies. So it's behaving pretty predictably as far as where it's going to be going. So when we're talking about context and measured moves, we can increase our bar size to get a bigger picture and back it out. Well, first, price is coiling. Our price is coiling and getting smaller, meaning that there's going to be a bigger breakout soon. Okay, so we started out with larger moves, then we had a return up thrust, and then we came down for the measured move. Well, this one didn't really work out, but they are measuring the moves pretty similarly, and the moves are now narrowing inside the ranges, which means that price is getting ready to burst out, and it's either going to burst out up or down. So what I was looking at this week was my daily momentum, and I put a stochastics momentum on here to get an indication of what direction the breakout is likely to be in. And right now, the momentum is leading down. We're in a small coil wedge, and the range is getting smaller. Okay, we're tightening inside this range. The best place to buy a coil range is at the top or at the bottom and sell it at the top. So if momentum flips, we want to go for an upside breakout, but since the momentum is down, the best place to buy it would be up here at 61 at the bottom of this trend channel. But price may not make it back to 61. But it most likely will, since we stopped at the bottom of this area. I'm thinking that we will get a bounce going into Monday, sending it back to the top of the range. And the best place to sell it would be at the bodies of these candles. Okay, so my guess is to sell somewhere around 61.28 next week. Taking a look at the stochastics indicator to tell where we are on that momentum, we are coming down. Okay, so when you have a range shift in the middle of a range, that does not bode well for the price. Do you see how it did not work out for this range shift here? Price could not rally up on a middle of the range breakout. And the middle of the range is around the 50, the 40 to 60 area. So when you're in the middle of a range on stochastics, it's like being in the middle of value. It's just not a place you want to be. So in a coil, and this started out, we were watching last summer, the coil, last year and the big breakdown. it's very similar to that. So I'm expecting, because of momentum, a downside breakout. And where is this going to go? It's the first target is the 57 area, 57.25. And that would allow price to get to the bottom of the oversold area. And we could look for a reversal back up at that time. So when it gets down to 57.25, it's going to be oversold. So it could bounce up then. Let me change that color. Okay, bounce back up, because then our oscillator will be oversold, and it's either going to stay oversold and flat while it flushes more into this area around 50, or it's going to bounce. Because we've been in such a range here and we've only really had a few touches at this 57 level, I'm thinking it's going to be bouncing back up. Then we'll have the forward momentum to break this out of this wedge area. So a breakdown next week into this level between 57 and 60, 61, and then an up thrust to get us back out and up. I really don't see price getting back down into the range between 45 and 55. But you never know. I mean, and especially with the event risk next week with Greece. Anything can happen to switch this momentum around next week. We may not make it all the way down to 57. An announcement could come out Monday that the Greece talks are off, and that's likely to spike crude up. So crude is very volatile for event risk with Greece, and don't ask me why. I mean, it has nothing to do with Greece. It has nothing to do with, our products being sold over there, but the volatility is likely to spike price up. Once we get a momentum shift, I'm going to be very bullish again in crude, and see if we can get it above 61.50 for a breakout. So 61.50 is my breakout area. And for longs, long opportunities, easily back up to 63, 64, 65. So we're in a coil. Prices have started to coil down. The ranges are getting smaller, smaller, smaller. Next week, early next week, given the provisions I just said with the Greece event risk, two scenarios. We're going to go ahead and flush down a breakout of this coil and bounce around 57.25, or the Greece event risk will come out and send us up higher. So that's crude. More important to the markets is this little E-mini. And let's see if I can get this. There we go. We've got divergence. Okay, we've got higher prices, my arrow, there you are, from here to here, and we've got lower falling momentum, and we just got our turn. So here was our first chink in the armor, and we're at the top of the Keltner band. Okay? I'm thinking that this is a great time to put some shorts in next week. And again, the caveat is Greece. That could propel this down even faster, okay? Or have money flowing into the United States faster. I'm not really sure how to play this with the Greek risk. If money's going to be flowing to us because our dollar is going to be strengthening, this could send the markets even higher. But with the FOMC rate decisions, that's a contrary indication that the prices are going to come off, and we need to come off 10%. Everybody's saying 10%. So 10% from 2,100 is $210. So that puts price around $1,800. Way down here. So there's really 1,900, excuse me. So there's really a big opportunity to make some money shorting the P's. But this Greek event risk means that if there is a default and they do allow Greece to walk away, there might be more inflows coming into the US capital system, which would propel the stock market's indexes. I don't know. Can't overanalyze everything. Just trade what's on your chart. Just because we're outside value does not, or outside the Keltner, doesn't mean that this can't continue bouncing off of this midline and going right back up too. So right now I'm bearish the P's, and that's subject to change with the news events. But definitely ride your bands, trade the bands. This is an index, so the bands are very tradable, and follow the slope if you can until the slope turns around. Right now the slope's still going up, but it's turning. We're at that precipice where it's flattening on the top and it's starting to come down. So this is Julie. Enjoy your trading next week. I think there's going to be a lot of room for opportunities in the P's and with crude. Thank you so much.